less food. Good. Yes, a cunning diet. I've developed I've become less wide porky pig as I was. And it's an eat less food diet, which I think I'm going to bring up. Just stick less food down your gob, and it tends to work.
Is this for the new supermodel image? I mean, those photographs. I mean, move over Cindy and Kate.
Yes, that was quite interesting. That was very. Al sort of came to me and said, "Let's do this," and I was worried because it's very. You know, obviously I could have been set up on it, so I was just very careful going in. But it came out very. I was very pleased with the results. So, yeah.
More modelling?
No, I don't really do modelling. That's not really my area. I just talk rubbish. And I have photos taken. But, yeah, so losing, yes, I'm just in the losing weight area at the moment. But I could balloon up later and become a huge, small ball. But,
Yes, all right. Can we talk about skirts, Eddie? Not weight anymore, but skirts. What is it about you and skirts? And yes, you're wearing trousers tonight, but what is it about you and skirts?
Well, I've answered so many questions, I think. The total clothing lines. You're wearing trousers at the moment. No one would ever say to you, look at that transvestite woman over there. It just... but back in the 20s, it was. Now, there are some women who consider themselves transvestites who do feel they want to wear men's clothing all the time. And I just think it's all clothes. It doesn't matter. It's cloth. And total clothing rights. If you want to wear trousers, fine. If you want to wear a skirt, fine. What does it matter? And so women have total clothing rights, and I think it's about time men took up those.
When you go into Miss Selfridge,
yeah.
You know, and you see a nice frock, and you go into one of these communal changing rooms,
the communal changing rooms is a problem because no one knows how to act. But the cubicles, I mean...
Well, what do you do?
The weird thing is that women have communal changing rooms. Men don't have communal changing rooms. There are no male communal changing rooms anywhere unless it's someone has forgot to put the walls up. You know, it's just... it really is. And women don't know this and men don't know this. I know this because I go in both. And... but what I tend to say, I find that because the people want to sell their clothes. So if they're selling a skirt, you know, and I want to buy it, that's fine from them. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure their bosses are going, just sell it, you know. That's not a problem. So I tend to say, I'm trying on this skirt in that cubicle there. And then they go, oh, yeah, but if I say, can I? Then people go, oh, I'm sure that must be a problem. I'm sure the world's going to explode if you try that on. And could you please leave forever and take your own life? And so this is the kind of vibe I get off them. So I tend to be very direct and just say, I'm trying that on in there. Is that a cubicle? Am I a Martian? And it just tends to work. And, you know, I'm just buying clothes.
And then wearing them in the street.
Yeah, and then wearing them. And you're wearing trousers.
No, absolutely, and I'm all for it, because I think you look great in skirts. We saw the pictures over your skirts. But do you get a funny reaction?
I sometimes look hideous, I must admit. You have to go through a frumpy phase, because, you know, because gay and lesbian people have come out, you know, and it's very much more advanced. TV people are much more sort of in this lost backwater of the sort of 50s, sort of pre-Quentin Crisp type of time. And when people think of transvestite, they tend to think of this sort of frumpy look. And the trouble is you have to come out and try, because I was going around wearing skirts and high heels when I first came out, and it just doesn't really go with me. So I started wearing more trousers, and there's lots of women's trousers that I buy. Now, what are women, when I buy women's trousers, what are they? Am I wearing trousers that are in fact, you know, are they men's trousers? Am I a transvestite because I'm wearing women's trousers that I bought in a women's shop? You know, how do it just gets totally lost.
Does it be a difference?
Well, it just doesn't make any sense. You know, all the buttons as well. Buttons go up one way for men.
I don't know why that is.
Why on earth? You know, it makes no sense. So you know, they should go one side, one the other side. When it's a zip, what does that mean? Unisex? No one knows. It's just it's a load of rubbish. So I just wear anything.
And walking down the street though, when that first happened, did you get, oh, look, there's a bloke in a skirt? Or...
Yeah, and I actually did. I had to go through this because the fear is huge. The fear is huge because you assume that everyone is going to give you a hard time. And in fact, I found people looking and staring, but then I started going out just wearing trousers as a bloke, and I found people also look at me, but I wasn't aware of it because I was more confident as myself, or in the clothes I was wearing then. And I found that people look anyway, just saying, oh, that's a strange thing you're wearing, oh, I quite like that jacket, or whatever, or they're looking behind you at someone else, and you just don't notice it. So I find that people are just curious anyway. But I find that I've gone around wearing makeup, wearing whatever, and the reaction is pretty, you know...
Was that your dad's reaction?
Yeah, my dad was very cool. I told him after this football match, I went to a football... Well, I was there with my dad, and so I thought I'd tell him after this, and then I thought, if we lose the football match, I can't tell him that because he'd be too pissed off, and so it was after that, and then we were going home, and I think we had one or drawn at least, and then there was a load of football fans walking as well, so I didn't think I should just start this in the street in case he said, you're a transvestite, and all the football fans, so I thought that might be tricky, so we kept going back, and he was about to go home, so we went and had something to eat in a cafe, and there was no one sitting on that table, so I told him, and Dad, I'm a transvestite, and he said, oh, all right. And that wasn't the reaction. I had a million different reactions that he could have come up with, and he didn't. He just went, oh, okay. I think it was because of the fact that I was sorted it. I said, look, this is it, and I'm being open about it, and I wasn't saying, Dad, sort out my problem, and he was much more cool, you know, he was sort of cool about it, and he's been very supportive.
Sounds a cool dad.
Yeah, he's a cool dad.
Accepting, at the Outer Hebrides. Now, you went on tour to the Outer Hebrides, and there was a certain Reverend MacLeod.
Reverend MacLeod, yes.
Outer Hebrides is a very beautiful place, somewhere I'd love to go to. Small population. What was the reaction, and why go to the Outer Hebrides? What was the reaction of the people?
Well, I just, because I don't have my... I've chosen not to have a telly show. There's all this thing about telly which is boring, but I love coming on chat shows because it's talking rubbish. But, but I don't have the telly show, so a lot of people don't know I exist, or if I do, they say, well, he can't be any good, he doesn't have his own telly show. So I'm doing it sort of kind of a bit weirdly. But I thought, let's go up to Outer Hebrides, Shetland, Orkneys, Orkney, I should say, Orkney Islands or Orkney, so get on, let's go. And I went to Outer Hebrides, and the Free Presbyterian minister said I was abhorrent for coming. I think he was more pissed off that I was a stand-up comedian than the fact that I was TV. He was sort of, I can't quite, but he just said I was abhorrent. He said, don't go, you know, he's abhorrent. And then everyone started coming. You know, we'd only sold about 50 tickets, and then we sold out. And I met people who said, yes, we heard this guy saying you're abhorrent, so I thought I'd go and check that out. And,
did he see your act?
No, he refused to come, and he refused to go anywhere near, and he was, he took a picture wearing tweed jacket. But they were trying, the Times were covering it, and they were trying to set up a double photo thing, but he wouldn't do that.
He wouldn't do it?
No, so,
Well, no, it's not just the Outer Hebrides, it's France, and you're gigging in France again, and you're going to be telling your gags in French.
Well, this is what I'm going to try and do.
The French have a sense of humour, the same sense of... Oh, no, do they have the same sense of humour as us?
I think everyone has the same sense of humour. There's the whole thing about the Americans. They say, well, the American sense of humour is different. I think it's exactly the same, but about a third of our references are different. And I think it's the same in France, because there's lots of different types of humour. Like, the Americans are really into Python, because that took off, and also Benny Hill. So that's, you know, different. One's more mainstream, one's more sort of alternative. And I think it's probably the same in France. They have different references and an entirely different language as well. So that's...
that's one thing, yes.
That's kind of weird.
And you're going to be doing it all in French.
Well, I'm going to try and do this. I've sort of decided to tell everyone, so it means I can't back out of it. And so when I tour at the end of the year, I'm going to go all around Europe. But in France, I'm going to try and translate, because I know I speak a good bad French, and then I'm going to just translate the rest of it and see how it goes. And probably the night before I will want to take my own life, but...
No, please don't.
Well, it'll be interesting, because, you know, because Rupert Everett at the moment is a big hit over there, because he lives over there and he's doing a play in French. Yeah. And I think it's the time for, you know, Jean-Paul Gaultier and Antoine de Con coming over, French guys speaking English. I think English people go over, or British people go over and speak French there, and I think that's European. I'm very positive on the European thing.
Oh, well, that leads very nicely into those political things. There's the Rock the Vote, which I've been reading a lot about the Rock the Vote, and I'm a bit confused, to be honest, because I thought you were a paid-up member of the Labour Party, and yet you're doing Rock the Vote, which is apolitical.
Well, the Labour Party believe in democracy, so that's cool. And so the Liberal Party believe in democracy, and so the Tory Party believe in democracy. So, you know, all the leaders of all three major parties have given messages of support to Rock the Vote, which is trying to encourage under 25s to register and use their votes for the next election. 2.5 million didn't vote at the last election, probably feeling that, you know, they're kind of pulled away, because most of the politicians are the older generation, and they kind of feel separated out, and will it make a difference? And so this is just trying to encourage people to make it easier as well for them to vote, because we have registration cards at the gigs that we're playing. And we're doing a week of gigs. We just done one in London, and I know you don't like plugs, and I'm not plugging, but this isn't a plug. This is like a geography lesson. But I just mentioned from tomorrow, we're going to Edinburgh, and then Sunderland, and then Cambridge, and then there's Bristol, and then Liverpool, and then Southampton. But that's just geography towns.
You were a workaholic, though, weren't you? You don't stop.
Well, no, because in the 80s I couldn't get anything going, and now I'm 109, it's the 90s, and so I like doing things. I love creating it. It's the best drug, you know, creativity. Because when people are kids, everyone has creativity, and everyone wants to make things, and then gradually people kill it and say, no, I probably can't do it, you know, as a living. But I've kept it going, and I held on to it for about 10 years when it wasn't taking off, and now in the 90s I can do it, and I have a sort of a bit of a vehicle to do it, my own profile, so I'm just keep setting things up to do.
Well, I'm delighted, and please keep going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eddie Izzard.